Well, it is the top of the hour. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Thanks again for joining us. Let's get this started. So we have quite a few guests and visiting Rotarians. I think in my top left corner, we do have Marianne Naess, our program today, this morning. Good morning. Thanks for joining us. And looking through, Jesse, welcome back. It's good to see you again. And let's see here. Jamie, a guest for the last time. Good morning, sir. And looks like I have Lynette Mullen. Thank you for joining us this morning. Sorry, it just takes me a minute to look at all these photos here. So many faces. Thank you. Okay. Well, I think that's it so far, and I'm sure there'll be more joining us, but welcome. So our raffle this morning, thank you to Charlie for adding to the pot. So we have 3 gift certificates this morning, each for $25. The blue ball has not been pulled yet, so let me do the whole Venmo thing and get $5 for our chance to win the raffle here. If the blue ball does get pulled, the pot's at $90, so Charlie would get the $90, and then the winner would get the 3 gift certificates. So get your raffle tickets in. I do have that scan code if you're looking for that convenience. There it's done. I don't know if I saw Tomas out there. He may not have been able to join us this morning, but it's always good to see him, and so not yet. So I'll catch him next time. So I will turn it over to Tomas to induct our newest member here.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, AJ. Getting started with a bang today. That's awesome. So I have good news and better news. The good news is obviously we're getting a new member, and the better news is those of you that missed the first ever Rotary Club of Arcata Sunrise virtual induction get another chance. So here we are. Now I know that we were all pretty optimistic and hoping that perhaps we'd only have one virtual induction, not because we don't want more members, but because perhaps we'd get together again sooner. Well, not the case, but fortunately we find ourselves here again inducting our newest member, Jamie Anderson. Jamie was proposed for membership by Matt Babbage. Thank you very much, Matt. A couple months ago, I get a great, quick, short Matt-esque email. Hey, the banker I'm working with is great. I think he'd be an awesome Rotarian. You should reach out to him. So thanks for doing that, Matt. Jamie has visited our club numerous occasions before we had the shelter in place, so he knows what we're all about. And in fact, he was also part of our last in-person membership meeting, so he got to spend some real quality time with our incoming president, Maggie, who was at that meeting and basically led that meeting. Thanks again, Maggie. Jamie, you've shown that you're interested in the ideals of Rotary and communicated that you're willing to do your share to translate those ideals into action. Therefore, after meeting with our membership committee and circulating all your information throughout our club members, we're pleased to approve your membership into our club. Your membership means that you've agreed to accept the obligations of membership into our club and obey our club's constitution and bylaws. So this is kind of the sad part for me, because normally this is when we'd present to you your badge and your Rotary pin. That would normally be your sponsor, Matt, but we'll have to wait for that now. AJ did a great job last time, and I can't see right now, but he has these little virtual red badges. Thanks, AJ. So we'll have some logistics to work out regarding your path to your blue badge, and that is what it takes to earn your blue badge, because we haven't worked that out yet, but we're going to be working on it. And as a club, as I mentioned last time, we'll address all of those challenges together. So what's most important, though, is today, on behalf of the board of directors, it's my honor to congratulate you, Jamie, our newest club member. And as our tradition, everyone please send Jamie a virtual handshake now. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm honored.
Let's see if I can get my handshake up there. Huh. Well, welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
I'm not sure if Tammy was able to join us again this week. She has a bear photo that I'd like to get some information on, but looks like that we'll have to wait again, as well as these photos. And then Charlie, I'm not sure if this was an anniversary photo. It was just something that popped up in the feed recently. I don't know if you want to share your story here.
Aha. This is the Kinetic Caffeines. This is our mocha pot machine, and we had become the champions the year before, and so this was our return as the Kinetic Caffeines. And it was a fun, we called it the cocktail cruise, because we and a couple of other friends that also typically race didn't have a machine that year, and so the four of us shared the machine, and it was just a fun time. It was one of the most fun races.
Nice. I'll have a little slide later, but this has gone virtual, so I'll look out for that. That'll be a lot of fun. And celebrating all these birthdays, I really felt like I wanted to do more for our fellow Rotarians. So in doing my best to stay distant, we arrived at fellow Rotarians' homes, and we washed their cars. So this is Barbara Browning's home. Barbara, I don't know if you'd like to say anything.
Yeah, you guys, I had an idea for a fundraiser. You guys are really good at car washing. You could do detailing for people that want their cars washed and detailed. But it was really sweet of you guys to do that. Super fun to see you. And Ron usually details our car. He was very, very impressed with the job you guys did. So thanks so much.
Thank you. And then we next arrived at the Hemphills. Lisa and Chris, I don't know if you'd like to share. Look at us sitting 6 feet apart.
Okay. You left 2 cars undone. But we had a great time. You guys coming up are the social distancing we practiced when we were there. You see us having, and I had to go get my beer keg thing filled before you came. And you guys did a nice job, though. So we had to park the car in the garage after that because it got clean. So.
Those rims were glistening. I'll tell you, I need to know your secret.
I have a lot of fun there. Thank you. Mm-hmm. And then lastly, today is actually Bob's birthday. Oh, wait, sorry. I got an additional photo, a follow-up photo, or video, actually. Maybe there's a story behind this one.
Yeah, that's right. That's the shelter in place. You see, my hair needs to be cut too. It's you know, but she hadn't gotten that far yet, so we worked on the dog first to see if it was safe. And apparently, it wasn't. My hair has not been cut yet. Is there a video behind this?
I'll you myself.
Haircutter will come and do your hair for a price.
You can tell he's a happy dog.
Hope I put this in the wrong place, but I'll come back to this. And then this was our last visit with Mr. Johnson, who is celebrating a birthday today. So I'll play this video and then we can celebrate.
So I don't know. I think it might have been a Saturday, and I was just, kind of sitting around the house, waiting for something to happen. Hey Jay, what's going on? Hey. What's up, man? Wash my car?
My Hemphill made a sandwich. So.
gotta be kidding me. No, actually, I knew AJ had called me or sent me a text and said, hey, your birthday's coming up. You know, I'd like to bring some people over to, you know, like wash your car or whatever, you know, for your birthday. And I was like, oh, I kind of felt really weird about it. And in a way, I kind of felt bad because my van really wasn't all that dirty. So then, you know, I felt better about the whole thing. You know, and I still kind of felt a little weird about it. You know, my good Rotarian friends out there washing my car for my birthday, but they, you know, they seemed so happy, and they were really doing a really good job. Then I was like, hey, you guys got to hurry up because we are going to go over to Heller's house for a birthday party. And then we started washing their own cars. I even got in and helped them out, but it didn't really seem quite as weird then. But then AJ had the water. I thought he was going to squirt Crystal, but, you know, he didn't. So anyway, everything turned out just fine. We all tried to stay 6 feet apart. I want to say thanks to AJ and Crystal and Nick for coming over, and also for Dustin for getting there just in time to get in the picture.
So thank you, Bob, for putting that together.
Sure.
And big happy birthday.
Thanks.
Considering it is today, I like to try to run this again. If you so want, you can unmute yourself and join us. But Dick, let's give this a try and sing him a happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, brother Bob. Happy birthday to you.
It kind of sounds like howling.
Okay. So let me come back to someone's new book. Mike, you just released volume 2?
Yeah, volume 2.
You want to tell us a little bit about it? Or is it...
The majority of the interviews of veterans in volume 2 are Humboldt County. There are 4 interviews of gentlemen that were all at the Battle of Okinawa and their perspective of Japanese kamikaze attacks. There is one of those is a Native American of the Yurok tribe. A gentleman lives in Eureka, who was a member of the USS Pueblo crew that were captured by the North Koreans in January of '68 and spent 11 months as captives. And the last part of the book is a good friend of mine who was in the United States Air Force. He transferred from fixed wing to rotary and went to Vietnam in February of '68, flew Jolly Green Giant helicopters and rescued a number of individuals. Enjoy.
Oh, thank you. And Ashleigh, how's your week been going?
Well, we've been pretty busy. My dogs are now my coworkers, and they like going for walks at lunchtime. HHH had a game night, and that's me with Tiger King doing our game night last week. And Jesus, my significant other, has a new office coworker. Her name's Sadie. She's that cute little dog in the picture. So if you go to German Motors in Arcata, you can meet her, their new little shop dog. And if anybody knows what a Dachshund is, on Mother's Day, it was 5'10" day. So we took our Dachshund out for a cruise down Avenue of the Giants. So we've been having a little fun.
Nice. Thank you for sharing. And Patti, how was your Mother's Day?
I had the best surprise a mother could ever want. My daughter Kirby, who lives in Nashville, flew across the country on mostly empty planes to surprise me. So I had the shock of my life. Yeah, it was a great Mother's Day. Had all three of my kids together, so that's all a mother could want.
Oh, that's awesome. And Mr. Hunt, you have a new member of the family.
Yeah, yep. I am no longer the favorite child of my parents. This is their new child, and she is adorable. I can't blame them. She's very cute. And then that's us at the bank. I'm here right now, and I have a mask. And yeah, just been keeping away. I actually haven't met her yet. She's in Reading, so I'm still looking forward to meeting the pup. But yeah, it'd be fun.
Nice. Thank you for sharing. So anybody who can guess who's behind the mask here? Oh, I got to bring my chat up. Pretty sure there's probably some pretty good guesses out there. Yep. Mr. Torres, Mr. Growing a Beard Torres. How about this one? Any guesses? Blue eyes? Yeah. Thanks, Patti, for sharing. And one last one. You really get to know people, the color of people's eyes. Yes. Thank you, Tomas, for sharing. Rachel, you have a new workmate?
Yeah, I have some little friends that visit me at work, my home office. They like the roses too.
That's fun. And Amy, thank you for sharing your video here. Get to play here. So last Friday was a I Run with Maud opportunity to stand in solidarity with what's happening out there. So thank you for sharing. Okay, let's move on. And a few more recognitions here. Tomas, you had a good weekend?
Yeah, we had to get out of the house. Kids were going crazy. So we hooked up the travel trailer, called Benbow. They were like maybe a third full. We had a site away from everybody and obviously a river away from everybody. And just had a wonderful couple days out there, feeling a little bit normal despite not having any of our friends around, but it was still amazing.
Nice. Thank you for sharing. Okay, so this month's final Friday, final Friday of the year, Maggie has arranged to support these 3 local caterers who've supported us over the years at our fundraiser. I guess one thing to acknowledge is we have hit our fundraising goal for the foundation. Terry, I don't know if you'd like to say anything there.
We did. I'm still processing some checks, but we're over our goal, and we're not going to raise as much money as we did last year. But last year we weren't all facing this crazy, frightening stuff. So Maggie and you and I talked about doing something different to help the local people who have helped us with this final Friday. And I think it's a great idea. And Maggie has been the organizer with it. And thank you.
So Maggie, you got an email out to the remainder of club members who haven't contributed to a Final Friday. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we're asking anybody who hasn't yet contributed to Final Friday and is able to contribute to this so that we can purchase these gift certificates, dinner for four. They're all three of them are going to create a dinner for four that we're going to auction off on Final Friday. So if you've been contacted by an email or by Terry and want to participate in this, let us know as soon as you can so we know what we have going, and we really appreciate it. I talked to all three of these folks and they were just so appreciative. Everything's canceled. They're having a rough time. They're hustling. Chris is hustling with great box lunches, but it is a very challenging time, and we thought it might be a quick and easy way for us to help them out a little bit.
Thank you so much, Maggie, for putting that together. And if you have photos, I know I've reached out to a couple of you and I get them by text, but if something comes up, please send it to arcs.recognitions@gmail.com. So thank you, everybody, for sharing. So we're doing pretty well with this Food for People fundraiser with some recent donations, including a match from Scott to kind of round it out to up to 10,000. We're at 9340. So I really, really, really appreciate. I'm so grateful for the contributions so far. If anybody out there has a little more to contribute, Scott will match your contribution. And huge thank you to Scott for putting that out there. I really appreciate that. It'll help us achieve a goal of 10,000 or more. And we'll put Andreas to work to write us a good article for the Rotary magazine. So I'm in the process of coordinating with the other clubs in the area to take a photo at Food for People. So all of us can share in the recognition in helping out the local food pantry and local food insecurity during this crazy pandemic. But I'll have that for you guys next round. And Brian and or Jeff, are you guys out there?
Brian was. I'm out here, AJ.
Hi, Brian. So I really appreciate your efforts this week. One of the toughest things we had to look at was cutting some things in the budget, and I really appreciate that you weren't really willing to let this go and you're doing some fundraising on your own. I wanted to take a minute and read a letter from one of our scholarship recipients, but I wanted to give you a chance to share what you've been doing this week first.
Thanks, AJ. Of course, the scholarship committee had been looking forward and working hard to providing scholarships to the graduating class at Arcata High. And unfortunately, due to COVID-19, not only were our budget impacted so that we were not able to provide scholarships, but of course, they're missing out on a good chunk of their senior year and possibly going to be starting their college career online. And really hated to think that they were going to miss out on the scholarship opportunity as well. So thanks to the support of some generous Rotarians, made some phone calls. So far we have $3,500. I have a goal of 5,000, which I'm going to continue to make some calls on today. But anybody who feels like this is important and wants to contribute, just shoot me an email and we'll make sure you get an invoice. Again, these are kids that work really hard, and the support that we give them not only helps them financially, but it's a real boost to their confidence as they move into college. And a lot of the kids we support are kids who come out of challenging situations and have really shown their ability to overcome, and they're going to be great leaders in our community someday. So
Jeff shared this letter. It's fairly brief, so I'll read it so that way you can kind of hear what an experience has been for a student during the pandemic. So this is from Hannah Henry. I spent my second year of college at Linwood University in St. Charles, Missouri. While at Linwood University, I was on one of the 4 cheer teams the Linwood cheerleading program offered, the small co-ed intermediate team. Along with being part of the cheer program, I was a member of the Rotary Club on campus. For my first semester this year, I had a 15-year caseload. I took microeconomics, world literature, pre-modern world, global business and society, business law, and quantitative methods for business. For my second semester, I had another 15-hour caseload. She took financial accounting, dances and art, world regional geography, organizational behavior, and the sociology of gender roles. Although my season is technically in the spring, I still had football games to attend, practices for 3 hours, 3 times a week, Lions support Lions games, community events to put the cheerleading program name out in the community, all while keeping an accumulative GPA of 3.41 both semesters. I enjoyed most of my professors and learned things from the basics of business law to the basics of accounting. My major is business administration and management. I may be changing my minor from management to HR management since my eyes were open to a new path through my business law class and my organizational behavior class. This last year was like no other. That is for sure. With changing colleges due to my first college closing their campus, I was very overwhelmed and nervous about being part of a Division II cheerleading program and at a much larger campus. But I was able to push the nerves aside and was able to create my new friendships, and I will cherish for a lifetime. Even though the changing of college campuses, cheer teams, and completely different environment, nothing beats the feeling of being able to pack your things because campus is closed. Your season is over, and the rest of the semester will be done online. It is so heartbreaking watching all the hard work you put into something you love for it to all go down the toilet. It is heartbreaking to know that my class of 2020 friends are not getting their opportunity to walk across the stage and accept their diploma for all the work they've done to graduate college. This school year has been different than any year I've ever had in school, but as my favorite quote by Gary Allen says, "Every storm runs out of rain, just like every dark night turns into day." So this year was the dark night, but next year will be the day. So I just wanted to offer some perspective there. And thank you again, Brian and Jeff, for keeping it going, and Jennifer, the new committee chair for the scholarship committee. So thank you for your efforts. So some upcoming events. So this was the Kinetic Grand Championship sculpture in place. I haven't seen any updates to the website, but it is at the end of this month, the 23rd, 24th, and 25th. So I'm sure that'll be an interesting approach to something that's, across the county. So it'll be fun to see what people come up with. And then for those howlers out there, keep on howling. I know there's a lot to howl for, and it's awesome to hear that you guys can howl together, Scott and Howard, and those that are near each other. And then the virtual convention coming up next month, and more to come there. So at this point of the program, happy to turn it over to Marianne Naess to talk about Nordic Aquafarms. Marianne, I'm going to stop sharing here and make you the host so you can share your presentation there.
Okay, let's see. I have share screen. Let's see if this works.
Perfect.
Is this working?
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you very much for having me here. It's important for us to reach out to the community in these special times. So I have prepared a short presentation, including a brand new video that we have made of the project. And I will be open for answering any questions you have. I don't know how that would be administered best, if it should be by facilitated by you here, or if you could just, ask questions or type them, and I'll be able to answer anything.
Let's use the chat, yeah.
Okay. I hope we'll be able to stream a video that kind of explains the project, and I also think it's a pretty good gives a pretty good picture of Humboldt as well. But before then, the reason why we're doing it is, I think, you know, some of you probably seen this before. There's a challenge meeting the gap for seafood in the world and also in the US. When it comes to salmon, which is our preferred species, there is a supply-demand gap anticipated to be about several 100,000 metric tons a year in 2030. The consumption is expected, if it grows at the same rate as today, to be about 1 million metric tons, and the supply is about 600. And that gap needs to be filled. And what you can see from this drawing is that we're not trying to replace any local or wild fisheries. We always think that's, you know, a premium product that you should be very proud of on the West Coast. But there is a supply-demand gap. In addition to that, you know, we're trying to replace some of the fresh imported seafood that comes by airplane, which leaves a terrible CO2 footprint. So that's the big picture. And I thought, you know, I hope this works. As I said, we made a introductory video of the project that's available on Vimeo, so I'll try to stream it and see if it works.
Northern California, wild nature, a beautiful coastline and working waterfront communities. This area is also known as the Lost Coast. In this magical place, something new is on the horizon. California's first commercial-scale land-based salmon facility. Currently in permitting, this cutting-edge facility by Nordic Aquafarms will farm salmon in indoor tanks with designs that are escape-proof. It will produce fully traceable, high-quality fresh seafood from egg to packaged fish out the door while protecting the environment and the surrounding ocean. Our chosen home is Humboldt, a vibrant community with a proud industrial history.
Okay, I just heard that I got a message that it's paused, so I'll see if I can share it again and go back. I'm sorry for that. It's
We're getting the audio, Marianne, not the video.
okay. I need to share it again then. Hold on a second and I'll share. I'll stop sharing, then I'll share it again. Hold on here. See how I could share the screen like this, and
You know, while you're doing that, Marianne, I'm gonna give you a proper, oh, never mind. I was gonna give you a proper introduction to the club.
okay, go ahead and do that. I'm sorry, it's a little awkward when you're online.
Yeah, so Marianne is the Executive Vice President for Commercial for Nordic Aquafarms, which of course is building the big project out on the peninsula where we're going to hear about. Marianne's been out here quite a bit and getting to know the community, and Lynette is working with her as the local community liaison for Nordic Aquafarms. They've been in the news. Now, Marianne is obviously not from these parts, but currently lives on the East Coast, but she is familiar with the West Coast, having gone to school at California Lutheran University, and she has 2 master's degrees from one of my favorite schools, the University of Oregon. So go Ducks. So there, we got a, she has been, like I said, out here quite a bit, and has really been great about reaching out to the community. So Marianne, hey, I hear you might have a video. Let's see that video.
Okay, I hope I will be able to share my screen then. Hold on, here's the, and should I share again? Well, it says stop sharing. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, and I'll try to, also if I, still? No.
Northern California, wild nature, a beautiful coastline and working waterfront communities. This area
You might try the play button instead of the link.
In this magical place, something new is on the horizon. California's first commercial-scale land-based salmon facility. Currently in permitting, this cutting-edge facility by Nordic Aquafarms will farm salmon in indoor tanks with designs that are escape-proof. It will produce fully traceable, high-quality fresh seafood from egg to packaged fish out the door while protecting the environment and the surrounding ocean.
Hey, Marianne.
Is Humboldt.
We can always share this later. I can work with the club to make sure it gets
Tradition
distributed.
in seafood and agriculture and a passion for to
Can
new
you put the link in the chat?
aquaculture is one of those industries.
We want people that are passionate about what we're doing and passionate about producing fish. And we see a lot of people with that passion here.
Humboldt offers clean, cold water
Can you
resources,
hear?
access to competitive power supply, and great infrastructure. Humboldt is
Can't
also
hear?
close to 50 million consumers, which allows us to reduce the carbon footprint compared to imported fresh seafood. This is a modern seafood facility that recycles 99% of its water. 1% is sent through an advanced water treatment plant that removes most of the nutrients and particles from the water before it is safely discharged far offshore from Humboldt. Nordic Aquafarms was built on a vision of environmental sustainability with low-impact food systems that are resilient to climate change effects, such as warming oceans.
We've been a front runner in
The video didn't work. The audio did. We can send out the link later so that folks can take a look at it.
any major disease outbreaks, never any escapes, nor any major incidents.
I would cut it off.
Results in an
I'll stop it.
innovative, high-quality seafood product with minimal impact on the environment and significant benefits for Humboldt.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. Can you, I am sorry about that. Not working. So we can send out, can you hear me now? You can hear me? Okay. I'm sorry. We made a video kind of explaining it. We can, of course, send out the link. It's on Vimeo, so it could easily be found there as well. But it kind of explains the concept of producing fish indoors on land. And that's the whole idea. And we've taken a lot of effort, gone to a lot of efforts into make sure that it's an escape-proof facility and that we have a very clean discharge compared to what you see in net pens. So I'll go through that, but at least I can show you some pictures. This is what the area looks like today. I guess you're all familiar with it. This will be what it will look like when it's completed. And it will be built out in 2 phases. Here you see what we call the grow out facility in phase 1. That's where actually the tanks where the fish grows from the hatchery, from smolt to full size. So everything happens indoors in a facility like this. You start with some eggs and you put them in the hatchery and then the smolt facility. And then they're transferred by pipes to the grow out facilities. We also have a processing facility on site and a huge wastewater treatment facility to treat all the discharge. And hopefully we are keeping the existing water tank, and we're kind of playing around with the idea of having in the excellent Eureka tradition have murals on it and have a competition to see if you can find some good local artists that can help us decorate it. In phase 2, we'll build this part of the facility, except for a small portion that will be built with some central utilities that will be built in phase 1. So it's clearly a different approach to what you've seen so far and on the peninsula, but it's an excellent location to build a facility like this. We have access to fresh water, as you know, from the Mad River, and then we have access to salt water from the sea chest out here. So, and then here's a existing discharge pipe that goes 1.5 miles offshore, where we'll discharge the wastewater after it's treated. In this wastewater treatment facility, we take out 99% of most of the nutrients and more than 85% of the nitrogen. So the water that comes out is, except for the salinity, is actually, drinkable. Here is a different picture of the facility. We try to, it's not as easy to see here, but if you see it from a distance, it has 2 different patterns of color, and that's to blend more in from long distance. So I think it would be not too visible compared to what you see. We're taking down the huge boiler building and the smokestack as well. So, and this is a rendering from the entrance, and where you see the office and the tsunami escape facilities that we have. So, as I said, it's very important for us to prevent any kind of fish escape and commingling. So we put great effort into building this tsunami and seismic proof, and everything is also happening indoors. So as we said, we have extensive fish escape prevention measures in place. All production is 200 to 300 feet from any open water source. So basically the fish would have to walk or fly out into the ocean. Only theoretical escape is through the pipes, and I'll show you the piping system and how many barriers we have there as well. Well, this is basically what we said. Also, we have the final barrier is a 0.04 micron microfiltration system. If a strand of hair is about 40 to 50 microns, so this is pretty finely meshed, and it takes out bacteria, everything from the discharge. We also treat it when it comes in. Keeping the facility is a high food grade facility, and keeping the water clean when we raise the fish is also very important. Yes, I'll show some of this design here. And we're also certified. We have facilities in Norway and Denmark today, and they are certified by the highest standards. So, and our US facilities will also be certified. So basically, if you look at the fish tank here, for any fish to escape, you would have to go through 7 physical barriers, including the 0.04 microfiltration system. So there's so many barriers. So even with any kind of seismic or tsunami event, we would not be able to escape from the facility. Also, it's built so if there is an earthquake and you will have sloshing in the tanks, there's a fish escape net. So the only thing you would could lose would be some water, not fish.
Hey,
And
Marianne.
yes,
I'm wondering, just because I'm a little afraid we're going to run out of time, if you want to talk a little bit about the jobs and kind of ancillary business opportunities, just because this is the Rotary, I think the business folks might be interested in that sort of information.
yes, I will. I have 2 more slides, so I'll do that too. This is just the water treatment. You can skip this. And this is the timeline, and I can come into where are we going with this. We're currently in CEQA and doing the engineering and permitting, and then we expect that process to take up till like next summer, and that's where we can start the demolition engineering and planning. And as we said, There will be quite a few people working on this facility, actually in building it. I would see probably 200 to 300 people, highly skilled craftsmen. It is a public site. We will pay prevailing wage, which we have to, and we will also have ensure that we use as much local labor as possible. It takes about a couple of years to build it, but you can actually put eggs into the hatchery after about a year and then build the grow-out facilities afterwards. We anticipate that once we go into production, we'll have about 150 employees on site. It's phased in 2 phases, so the phase 1 will be a little bit more, less, but eventually that's the plan. And that would be employees ranging from high school graduates to college graduates within technical fields or biology, marine biology, aquaculture. In addition to that, we're working with the County of College of the Redwoods to create a workforce development initiative or a certificate where we can have people being trained in a 1 to 2 year certificate, or actually build the courses that will make it possible for you to transfer to HSU to work on the farm as well. And I say in the best case scenario, we'll have fish out the door in the end of 24. So it's a long-term process to build this. And usually what we do is that you run the operation for about a year and take out all the growing pains, and then you start, construction of phase 2. So this is a long-term investment, and that's why we spend so much time in the community talking to all kinds of different stakeholders and business groups and the community itself and educational institutions to ensure that we can make plans that fit with the community and that will be appropriate in the community. So I only have one more slide. We have a news desk and a newsletter that will be published on that news desk. It has both Maine and California. Here you get all news, or you have California. We will now revise our communication plan, and we're going into a new phase, and we will publish on a frequent basis updates from California here. And you can go in here and subscribe to it. And we will also send out locally via Lynette so you can subscribe to it. And here you can select what you want to hear. If you want to get information about all NAF news, or California, or Maine. So this was just a brief introduction, and I don't know if you have anything you want to add, Lynette, that you think is appropriate that I didn't touch upon, or if we should just open for questions.
I can close with some requests at the end. So I'd rather just because we're limited on time, I'd rather just open it up for questions now for folks.
Okay.
We do have about 5 minutes. Looks like there's some questions in the chat. How many employees?
Fully built out, approximately 150 employees. That goes from anything from administrative employees to fish processing to fish production, and some technical maintenance jobs as well.
And then what type of salmon and what are they fed?
We have had close dialogue with the fishermen, and we don't want to go in direct competition. And also the best fish that you can rear or produce is Atlantic salmon. That's the one that's been domesticated for fish production. And that's also why it's super important for us to create in a facility where fish can escape. So we have to apply for both steelhead and Atlantic salmon, but salmon is the preferred species. And I think that's also for replacing fresh imported fish. You had one more question.
What are they fed?
Oh yeah. Well, basically you buy fish feed pellets, And there are some larger suppliers. And what we are working on as a large customer, you can influence the composition of the feed. So for us, it's important to reduce the amount of marine or forage fish in the feed. And we also said we're not using any GMOs. We're not using any artificial coloring. And we're not using in Europe. It's you don't use GMOs in, for example, the soy or anything you produce. So the fish feed formula will be known before we go online with the facility. We're working on that in Maine right now, but we're a little ahead in Maine from California. So yes, it's traditional fish feed, but we set the limits or the criteria for the ingredients.
Looks like there's a comment. Can you please explain the danger of these fish entering the wild?
I wouldn't say there is a danger. Even if you look at some of the escapes you had, it's really hard for a species to establish itself, and especially since we're using all female. So they wouldn't have anyone to mingle with or commingle with. They wouldn't be able to establish itself. But usually we want to make sure that that wouldn't happen.
So Marianne, can you just clarify? You said escapes that have happened, but that is with a different type of facility than what you have.
Yes.
If you could just clarify that within your facility, it's completely contained on land. The facilities where there have been fish escapes the facility is actually located in the water.
Yes.
Which allowed for that escape in the first place. So even that's not even possible that they would get out in your design.
No. Even with a tsunami or earthquake, they're built. If you can imagine thick concrete tanks filled with water, they're so solid that they could withstand a lot of the waves that would come with a tsunami, and then they're also inside a building. And it's designed. We have a tsunami expert from Hawaii that's consulting the project to make it withstand any kind of impact from a tsunami, if you ever were to have one.
Next question is, what's the annual tax revenue to Humboldt County?
Well, that's a little early to say, and I haven't gotten those final calculations yet. But it's a $450 million facility, so it will bring substantial tax dollars to the county.
And what will be the principal transportation to market for your product?
Truck. So we have a saying that our fish don't fly. So the whole idea is to be close to the market, and we have about 50 million consumers within 12 hours driving distance. So you can get it actually, if we take out the bones and the pin bones and create the fillets before the fish go into rigor, we can have it in the market within half a day from when it's harvested. So it's super fresh.
Marianne, this is where you might want to mention what percentage of our seafood is currently imported, and just kind of emphasize what you're trying to replace there in the market.
Yes, currently more than 90% of the fresh seafood, also in salmon, but also fresh seafood, is imported into the U.S. U.S. is the single largest consumption market in the Western Hemisphere, but only 16 when it comes to own catch and production. So there's a huge seafood deficit in the country. So it comes in by ship, frozen, or by airplane, fresh. So most of the fresh fish you eat here in the country is actually imported.
Why did you choose Humboldt for your plant, and are you worried about the site being underwater because of global warming?
We did a survey from about Santa Cruz to the Canadian border, and this came out as the best site when you put all the criteria You consider all the criteria. You have access to seawater, fresh water, you have the discharge pipe. We looked for a nice community where we could actually employ people and people want to live. A lot of, traditional fish farming is in very remote areas. So this ended up being the best place for it. When it comes to sea level rise, the site itself is between 20 and 25 feet up. And when we do the estimates, you have to, when you build a facility like this, consider sea level rise. And if you look at the projections that we have to take into account, I think it's the medium scenario that we're working on is about 7 to 8 feet at the most in 2021. So we should be fine even with sea level rise, also when you take into consideration. But all this, is important. One thing is the regulatory regime that you have to work within, but the other thing is, insurance and investments, of course. So that's taken into consideration.
The next question pertains to discharge. So what is the discharge, or what will be done with waste from processing and water treatment?
You have the discharge itself. You have a sludge that comes out, and that's from the residual feeds and the feces. That's being filtered out and dewatered, and it can be used for. It's a high valuable product that can be used for biogas. It can be used for mixed out with other waste to be used as fertilizer. And we have also fish waste that will be frozen and sold. You can use it for pet food. You can use it for fish oil. So we're currently having a project looking into what are options, and that's also part of the project, looking into how we can use 100% of the fish and also the waste streams. So we have a project going on there.
And I'll end with this last question here. What methods are used to control disease in a farm population like this and keep any outbreaks from spreading through wastewater?
Right. You have very strict biosecurity measures at a facility like this, and we have never had any disease at any other farms so far. So cleaning the water before it's taken in, having high biosecurity measures, making sure that people that work on the farm go through foot baths, they wear protective clothing, they cannot be in close contact with any kind of other fish producing or by rivers when they come in. Another issue that's really important is that each of these facilities have about 26 contained systems. So if something happened to one system, it will only happen to a small part of the system. We have our water treatment system. I can maybe go back and show. I'm not sharing my desktop right now, but I had a slide that we skipped through really briefly. It shows all the treatments that the water go through before it's discharged. It goes through filtration, it goes through chemical treatment, and it goes through UV disinfectant as well. So there won't be any disease spread from the discharge.
Thank you so much. Dick was able to, actually there was probably multiple links for the video in the chat. So if you want to take a look at the chat, the video, it's available there. Marianne, thank you so much for sharing with us this morning. Very informative. I really appreciate it. And Lynette, thank you again. Thank you as well for being here and helping us learn more about what's happening there on the Samoa Peninsula. And so at this point, I'll turn it over to Nick for raffle.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
AJ, is it okay if I just real quick say, if folks in the club have any questions about the project, please feel free to reach out. If you're involved in other service clubs and you think they might actually also be interested in learning about the project, Marianne is wonderful about showing up at 7 in the morning. Not for her, but anyway, any other avenues to get the word out about the project, please don't hesitate to let me know.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us from the East Coast. Hyder, what does Tucson Talk mean?
It means thank you.
Oh.
Directly translated, 1,000 thanks.
1,000 thanks. Awesome. All right, Nick.
All right, let's see. Who's our lucky winner today? Hey, Jake.
Oh, no worries.
Yeah. And let's see if you're the blue ball winner. Nope, $5, and I'll pay you through Venmo.
How many raffle purchases we get this morning?
We got
Or my
$90 worth.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
So thank you guys all for participating.
Next week it goes up to 100, and then we'll probably get another gift certificate. So thank you. So thank you everybody again for joining us this morning. Man, counting 5 more of these meetings. It's flown by this year, but I'll definitely do my best to make the best of these. So thanks again. Have a good weekend, and we'll catch you next Friday.